Okay, we're recording. So just to introduce myself, I'm Ellie and I'm Chief Exec of Grit. And I'm here today with one of our trainers, Dionne, who many of you probably have met or been trained by. And I'm just going to be asking her a few questions about how she's found lockdown, talking a little bit about the Grit training and some of the stuff we've done online, and then about the methodology itself as well. Partly the reason we wanted to do this is because lots of the people who are supporters of Grit are really keen to stay connected to the Grit training, and even when they can't be involved themselves or they've been a participant in the past, they're quite often asking us for bits and pieces of methodology to help keep it alive for themselves. So I thought, who better to speak to about this than Dionne? And maybe if you just introduce yourself a little bit, Dionne, and then we'll just have a bit of a chat.
So for those of you that don't know me, or those of you that it's been so long ago, you've forgotten who I am. My name's Dionne, and I'm one of the lead trainers at Grit. And I've actually been working with the organisation now for 22 years. And it was really, really present for me last week when I was working with some coaches, and a lady who was in the training had said, the last time I saw you, you had a baby in your tummy and you were 7 months pregnant. And suddenly I was like, wow, like it really is not just 7 years, but 22 years of being involved in an organisation, but also delivering trainings whilst I'm 7 months pregnant. Just, I suppose, really brought me present to the work and why I do what I do. And I guess partly why I'm here today to tell you a little bit more about who I am and how it's been going with the online work. So yeah, really great to be here. So thanks for inviting me, Ellie.
Very welcome. I was thinking just the other day about that school in Sunderland when we used to go and deliver together, but that'll take us off on a whole other tangent. So, so first of all, I suppose, just interested to know, what's the journey been like for you during lockdown, during this sort of weird, uncertain period?
You know, it's actually been okay. It really has been okay, and more from like a reflective process for me rather than like okay, like in the middle, if that makes sense. And I really do question whether if I hadn't been involved in this work and been around, you know, the work that we use and the methodology that we use within Grit, how successful I would have been at navigating this. And so again, it just brought me really present to why the work is so important. But it's been if I likened it to a fairground ride, you know, there's that old cliche that says it's like a roller coaster. It's been like a roller coaster, but actually it hasn't. It's been like one of those really awful ghost trains where you stand outside it and you know that it's going to be awful, but you get on it anyway. And then when you're on it, you just don't know what's coming at you. You don't know whether it's real or whether it's fake. And then it slows down, you think it's over. And then it kind of, the car spins round again, and then it's smooth. And then you come out the other end and you're relieved that it's over. And then you're reminded that you're probably going to have to pay for it in some way at a later date. So it's been a bit like that for me. But what has really kept me grounded and I suppose I'm really open is some of the conversations that we continue to explore, and the distinctions that we inquire into with all the people that we work with, whether they be, you know, our younger people or, you know, our people who have been involved for a lot longer and adults. So it's made it a lot easier for me.
Yeah, I love that thing about the ghost train. I was just thinking, are we at the bit where we come out? I don't think we are. I think we're at the bit where it slows down and it's going to go again. You think it's finished and it's still going. Anyway, I guess I'm also interested to know, what has been your experience of delivering online? Because I would say, as an organisation, we probably set out and just thought, oh my God, can we do this? And actually, it's been quite surprising what we've been able to do. So maybe just a couple of things about what that's been like for you.
It's been absolutely incredible. And it's been, I mean, I love this work anyway. And if you've ever had the experience of working with me, you'll know that, and I hope it resonates through the energy that I bring. But it's been fantastic. There's a a real sense of community. And I've been doing some evening trainings, for example. So for many of the coaches on those sessions, they're in their own homes, and so there's something about people just allowing you into their home, and then when you're interacting and engaging in conversations from the comfort of your own home, I think that it allows you to be maybe a little bit more vulnerable, but comfortable with that vulnerability. Primarily, our physical trainings, in the practical sense, usually that first day, it's still quite icebreakery, and even though we begin to create that safe space with ground rules and levels of conversation, people are still really testing the waters, but from the comfort of their own home, I can't tell you how much joy it is to just feel so invited to make a difference to people, and it's been so lovely. I just don't want it to end. I really don't. It's honestly, it's been just me. It's just been brilliant. It really is like that saying, from my home to yours. It's been a really beautiful experience, and in some ways, I'm glad that it's happened.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? And I can kind of feel that as well, in the sense that we would have, if someone had asked us before this all happened to try and deliver something on an online platform, we probably would have said it won't work as well, or it won't ever be the same. But I think we've discovered the sorts of things you're talking about, that for some people, they feel able to share more, that there are some advantages to it that we don't want to lose when we come out the other side of this, when the ghost train really does end. So it has been really interesting. And when you've been running there, so you've done quite a lot of work with students, but also working with some of our volunteers, training them up as coaches and doing all that via online. What's your sense of where people are at when they're connecting with grit, and how have they responded to that? What are some of the things that you felt that they've taken out of that experience?
I think it's in two parts, really. So there's the skill set and the learning of the skills and the developing of the skills. And so I think people have found that incredibly rewarding and insightful. I think that certainly from the online, the digital coaches, when after each week I ask for questions, comments or insights, there hasn't been a single individual that I can think of who hasn't had something that they have wanted to come back and share. So really being fully in the inquiry of the learning and the development for them. So there's the skill stuff. But the second part is that sense of being able to create an online community, being able to feel connected with individuals in a way that they would never have had the opportunity to do so before. And I think that's really surprised them. And much of the work that I've been doing with them and facilitating the conversations with them has been around some of the fears of, well, am I going to be able to connect with, students in school when I'm coaching them, and really bringing them back to,
That's one of the joys of being online, though, isn't it? It's just like
friend Sonny, Sonny never FaceTimes me. It's really strange. Because it was my phone. My phone's on Do Not Disturb. And the son was like, when does he FaceTime me? Maybe he's got to check that I'm okay. So maybe I shouldn't be like that.
Only when you're recording stuff.
So that's the first part. But so the second part around creating that community and then looking at how there's some sort of underlying concerns or fears around connection, but then just having them reflect on how quickly we were able to connect online. Yeah. And that's really been a great experience for them to go, actually, this is doable. And actually, that facing the fear of being liked or not liked, and it's provided a great platform to practice that. So
great. And so when you were talking earlier at the beginning, you were saying about the journey of lockdown and how helpful you found it being, I guess, inside. We're very fortunate inside Grit, because it is the kind of organisation where it is from within. It isn't just we go out and deliver this work. We are constantly in these sorts of inquiries and engaging in the distinctions ourselves and applying them to our own lives. I don't know whether how much people get that and see that. Hopefully, as you say, hopefully it kind of shines through. But what have been some of the insights or some of the grit conversations that you found most useful, and how have you sort of used them during this time?
So I would say listening, absolutely, just really being present to the present, and just really just continuously creating the space to see as it is, and which then kind of feeds into expectation versus reality. Like, to share a conversation with those that are listening or watching, that would resonate with them, it would be that one. Like, really, like how present I've been to expectation versus reality, and just constantly just putting that to the side, putting the paradigms of shoulds and shouldn'ts, like how I think it should be, how I think things should have happened or shouldn't have happened. This year has been crammed with so much stuff. There's the stuff of COVID, the injustices in America, all of that sort of stuff. So it's been crammed with lots of shoulds and shouldn'ts and expectations of how things should be, or doing the right thing, like an expectation. But really being able to just be present to who I am in the now, and to my listening in the now, and to what I'm experiencing the now, has actually given me hope that for things that maybe haven't met those expectations, well, if they haven't met them, then surely there's just as much opportunity for them to meet them in the future. And not holding on to it like it's something that has to be or doesn't have to be. It's constantly changing, and just being in the experience of it and noticing it and just letting it go.
Yeah. I've noticed us putting that conversation into almost every training that we deliver at the moment, because it just feels so relevant, that whole piece, and just listening to you talking about it, that, taking your expectations into your reality, they then stop you from seeing the reality as reality actually is. And unless that becomes examined, if it sort of goes unexamined, you think you're dealing with what is. You're unaware of the way that all the perceptions, all the things about what you think things should be like, are all in the way of you being able to actually get on and deal with what is. And I mean, I don't think you ever get there with this stuff, really. It's like ongoing, but that comes up all the time, I think, for me, and certainly seems to be the most resonant of our conversations at the moment. As I say, it seems to be in everything that we do.
And I suppose if you haven't had access to Grit's work, and you didn't have that distinction, it's like, well, I wonder what it would be like, because having that has given me so much freedom, but it's also allowed me to let go of guilt and blame. I mean, and the whole expectation versus reality conversation really kicked in for me when homeschooling started. It was like, I thought, yes, prior to homeschooling, I actually thought that I could homeschool. Like, I really did, I spent many years studying yoga and yogic philosophy, and I thought, yeah, I could be one of those parents that can homeschool. And then what I was very, very clear about early on was that there are expectations that I have about my child. And then there are expectations that I have about me as a parent when my child isn't meeting those expectations, because surely she can study for more than an hour at a time and she's 7 years old. But actually, that's not the reality. And it really kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. And I just stopped after about a week and a half. And I kind of checked out of the, the sort of PTA WhatsApp group and just said, actually, no, how do you want to learn? And she's a very practical and visual learner. It's like, how do you want to learn? And had to revisit the curriculum and really just not get drawn into what I was supposed to do, but really having to go, okay, let's see how we can work this so that I deal with what's necessary for my child and the needs of my child. And I suppose that's the question, not just for for a parent to child, but for all of us. Like, actually, what do we need in the moment? You know, and what's our end goal, or what's at stake for us, and what are we really committed to, and how do we want to go about that and not get sidetracked by a lot of the chaos and maybe the conversations outside of us that really don't support us or work for us. And I think these current times, taking care of our well-being, and not losing sight of our purpose and our stands is absolutely key.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant place to probably to end it, actually, because that is it's at the core of our work, isn't it? Is being led by your own sense of commitment of where you want to get to, and the stronger you can build that, the stronger your awareness of when you're off track, the more you can keep bringing yourself back. And you know, that just feels like so important at the minute. I spend most of my time realizing that I'm off track. Just go, hang on a minute, that's not important. I've already decided that's not important. I don't need to do it. Right, let's get back on course. So yeah, that's been brilliant, Dionne, and thank you for being willing to experiment.
I don't know if you can blend that out.
Yeah, I'm sure we can. Well, even if we can't, it just makes it real, doesn't it? Thank you for experimenting with us with no
worries.
Filming something.
No worries. I think it's great, and I think, you know, if our practice is about conversations, then what better for people to see us engaging in conversations and feeling like they're part of that as well. And like I said, it's just like the online coaches workshops is just really, yeah, just that privilege of people actually letting you into their homes, you know, and just yeah, it's just something that I certainly don't take for granted. It's a bit like permission with you know, like coaching. It's like, actually, yeah, you're letting me into your home here, because, you know, yes, you know, we're asking to put on your cameras, but it's like, it feels like something that maybe they don't have to do. And yeah, it's really great. So I'm getting so much joy from that. I look forward to it. So
yeah, that's
brilliant.
Great. That's so good to hear.
So much.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Take care, and I will see you soon.
Yeah, cheers.